Welcome back to the news at 10. The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency says it's formally served the Senator-elect for Ogun East Senatorial District, Mr. Buruji Kashamu, a notice by the United States government demanding his extradition for drug trafficking offences. The service was said to have been made on June the 1st, with a copy made available to the Chief Judge of the Federal High Court. Counsel to Mr. Kashamu, Mr. Ajibola Oluyede, however, says that the NDLEA has no role to play in the extradition proceedings until a warrant of arrest has been issued by the court. According to him, it's the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice that initiates extradition proceedings after receiving a request by an order directed to the court and asking the court to take over the matter. He adds that it's the court that will decide whether a warrant of arrest is necessary. Now, there appears to be a spate of fire incidents across the country as a tanker laden with petrol exploded, and that occurred in Lagos, southwest Nigeria. Also, similar incidents occurred in Onitsha, Anambra State, southeast Nigeria. Our next report takes a look at these incidents.
This is another scene of accident, but this time in Nigeria's southwest region of Lagos State. Eyewitness account has it that a tanker laden with premium motor spirit veered off while descending the Yanopaja bridge. The outcome has been devastating, although the fire has been put out.
Everything, look at the building. There's nothing we can discover there. Everything is gone.
Lagos State Governor Akinwumi Ambode made a stopover at the scene.
We have to start to do something about our tanker drivers. We will ensure that all those who have lost properties and even lost their shops will quickly find a way to let them get back to their normal business lives.
Let's also tell you that the FRSC had begun evacuating debris at the scene of another fire accident involving a tanker carrying petroleum products. Unfortunately, over 60 lives were lost, while the injured are currently receiving treatment at Toronto Hospital, where security has been beefed up.
Some people were identified by maybe some ornaments they were wearing, like rings and chains. Some were identified by their, facial cultures. But most of them were terribly charred and severely burnt, and some were actually left dismembered, so they couldn't be recognized. The Red Cross in Anambra State and the Ministry of Health, they came along and carted away the ones that couldn't be recognized.
The scene is still that of gloom, strong stench, and of course, passers-by discussing in hushed tones about the painful incident. It may be a while before the bustle returns to Opaiweka, a popular location for business activities. Still in the southeast, perhaps an intervention by the state governor while on another mission may have saved the day for this man who is a victim of another ghastly accident involving a trailer carrying containers. The driver was said to have lost control after a brake failure around Ubakala Junction in Umuahia, Abia State. It's been a tragic tale of events which has brought pain, loss, and sorrow. Hopes and prayers are definitely in the direction of safety.
Very tragic indeed. Well, the President Muhammadu Buhari has held a closed-door meeting with members of the National Working Committee of the APC, led by the National Chairman of the party, Chief John Oyegun. The meeting, which held behind closed doors, lasted for about 45 minutes, after which the National Chairman of the party spoke to journalists. He said they had come to felicitate with him and pledge their loyalty and determination to work with him through thick and thin. Chief Oyegun noted that expectations are extremely high, but they are with him and will ensure that he succeeds as the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. He said that all the problems will not be solved in one day, but that Nigerians should believe that the APC is on the right track towards dealing with the problems and frustrations of Nigerians. In the meantime, the Senate has congratulated President Muhammadu Buhari and Vice President Yemi Osinbajo on their successful inauguration as President and Vice President respectively on May the 29th. In a motion moved by Senate leader Victor Ndomaegba, the Senate also congratulated federal lawmakers who have been elected state governors and urged them to observe the rule of law. However, a lawmaker drew the attention of the Senate to the incidents which occurred in Niger and Kaduna states, where government officials were allegedly harassed at the inauguration ceremonies in their states. We're crossing over to the world of business now, and Adeshawa Josh joins us shortly.
First Bank. You first.
Thanks a lot, Chijama. Welcome to Business News, everyone. The World Economic Forum's 25th meeting on Africa begins on Wednesday, June the 3rd in Cape Town. That's in South Africa, with over 1,000 leaders from politics to the media, including Nigerian delegates led by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo. They're all expected to be part of the program. Well, the theme for the three-day event is tagged Then and Now, Reimagining Africa's Future. Our correspondent, Harriet Agbe, brings us updates from Cape Town.
We are live in front of the Convention Center, venue of this year's World Economic Forum on Africa meeting. Incidentally, the theme for this year is Then and Now, Reimagining the Future. Now, according to organizers of this forum, it's very important because at this time, there's so many issues that have come up within the African continent. Of course, there have been issue of commodity price fluctuations. There have also been issue of terrorism, mounting debts. A lot of talk is going to be on how best the government and the private sector can begin to work together. We hear that the Vice President, Yemi Osinbajo, will also be leading the delegates of Nigerians to this event. Some of the focus is going to be on creating jobs. That's a big issue. There's a booming African population, but there isn't enough jobs for the teeming African youth, which is set to grow astronomically high. Looking at the center as well, you can see security presence to ensure that there's no breakdown of law and order.
Thanks a lot, Harriet. We'll definitely keep an eye on the World Economic Forum Africa and bring you updates as soon as we get them. The new administration has been advised to encourage local investment as a way of boosting internally generated revenue in states and the country at large. At a news conference in Abuja, the national coordinator of the Nigeria-China Business Council, Mr. Matthew Wakwe, said such investments will translate into job creation and poverty reduction for the masses. According to him, bilateral trade between Nigeria and China currently stands at $10 billion, with over 6,000 jobs created in Nigeria. He, however, noted with concern the long-standing vocal disapproval of substandard products often associated with Chinese manufacturers, saying that he plans to reverse such development with proactive measures. The Nigerian equities market closed in the positive territory today, reversing losses from the previous trading session. The market capitalization now stands at 34,061.89. Bolaji Akinwale tells us more.
Hello, welcome to the Stock Market Report. Equities transaction on the floor of the Nigeria Stock Exchange reversed the previous day's loss. The benchmark index gained 0.05% to close at 34,061.89. High-cap stocks got a boost as the topped the advances table as Nigeria Brewers and Mobil added 3 naira each to the share prices. CAP gained 85 kobo. On the flip side, petroleum marketing stocks laid on the decliners table. Forte Oil lost 5 naira while Owando dropped 69 kobo from its share price. On the top trade chart, bank stocks dominated activities as seen in the shares of UBA, ETI and Zenith Bank. In all, more than 224 million units of shares were traded at the value of 3.4 billion naira in 3,940 deals. And that's it on the Stock Market Report. I am Bolaji Akinwale.
Thanks a lot, Balaji. Nigeria's independent petroleum company says about 50 million litres of petrol products were released on Monday to ease the current fuel scarcity. NIPCO says additional 28 million metric tons of fuel is also being imported to complement the efforts of the National Petroleum Corporation to meet domestic demands. In the meantime, the management of the Port Harcourt refining company says a phased rehabilitation of the facility has begun, and the refinery targets 210,000 barrels per day of refined products. That's about 80% capacity utilization by the first quarter of 2016. Crude oil prices became stable in early trades today due to expectations that OPEC would not cut output at its meeting later this week. Brent crude futures dropped to $64.71 per barrel before edging back to $64.85. U.S. crude, on the other hand, was at $60.23 a barrel. The Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries will be meeting this Friday in Vienna to discuss its production strategy. Meanwhile, U.S. Bank City says the group is likely to maintain current production. Finally, on business news tonight, the commodities market, gold dropped below $1,200 an ounce as the dollar climbed to a fresh 12.5-year peak against the yen. The strong U.S. economic data supported expectations of a Federal Reserve rate hike. Now, spot gold eased 0.1% to $1,187.10 an ounce. The metal climbed to a session high of $1,204.31 just yesterday. That'll be all on business news tonight. The news at 10 continues in a moment.
First Bank. You first.
Still ahead on the news at 10, World Football Governing Body's President Sepp Blatter resigns amid corruption scandal after 17 years at the helm of affairs. That's on sports. Join us again.